As we walk along this forest path, beside the quiet flow of the river Bukovica, it is hard to imagine that this was once the beating heart of medieval Bosnia. Imagine the sound of armored footsteps echoing between the trees. Centuries ago, this same trail may have carried royal processions, nobles on horseback, banners moving in the wind, guards scanning the forest for danger. The forest that now feels peaceful once listened to whispers of strategy and survival. The river below flows gently today, but in the 15th century, the air here may have carried a different sound. Distant signals, urgent horns, or the pounding of hooves. Hidden among dense forests and protected by steep cliffs, the royal fortress of Bobovac stood as the political center of the Bosnian Kingdom during the 14th and 15th centuries. Bobovac was established during the reign of Ban Stephen II Kotromanic in the first half of the 14th century. Its importance grew under King Tvrtko I Kotromanic, who was crowned in 1377 and became the first king of Bosnia. Within these fortified walls stood the royal residence. Here, the crown, royal seals, and the most important state documents of the kingdom were safeguarded. Archaeological research confirms that several Bosnian kings were buried here, including King Tvrtko II and King Stjepan Tomasz. Due to its natural position, surrounded by cliffs and dense woodland, Bobovac was considered one of the most secure fortresses in the region. Bobovac was more than a military fortress. Inside its walls were royal palaces, a chapel, administrative buildings, and living quarters. The royal chapel was especially important. It served as the burial place of Bosnian kings, making Bobovac not only a political center, but also a sacred royal site. Life here was strict and controlled. This was not a city of luxury, but a city of power, protection, and strategy. Decisions that shaped medieval Bosnia were made behind these stone walls. As the Ottoman army advanced in 1463, Bobovac, once considered nearly unbreakable, faced its greatest test. Inside the fortress, decisions would have been made under immense pressure. What to protect, what to destroy, what to preserve for future generations. In the spring of 1463, Sultan Mehmed II, known as Mehmed the Conqueror, the same ruler who captured Constantinople in 1453, launched a military campaign against the Kingdom of Bosnia. At that time, Bosnia was ruled by King Stjepan Tomašević. The Ottoman advance was swift and strategic. Their objective was clear: break the political center of the kingdom before organized resistance could fully form. The available historical sources suggest that Bobovac did not endure a long siege, according to Ottoman chronicles and later historical accounts. The fortress commander, often identified as Rodok or Radoy, surrendered the stronghold relatively quickly. There are interpretations that suggest possible betrayal or a realistic assessment that resistance against the massive Ottoman force was hopeless. The fall of Bobovac was more than a military loss. It was a psychological and political shock. Bobovac was the royal residence, the place where the crown and state documents were kept, and the symbolic center of Bosnian sovereignty. Once it fell, the collapse of the kingdom accelerated. Within weeks, King Stipan Tomasic was executed on the orders of Sultan Mehmed II. With his death, the independent medieval kingdom of Bosnia effectively came to an end. After 1463, Bobovac lost its political importance. The Ottomans took control of the fortress, but administrative focus shifted elsewhere. Over time, the site was gradually abandoned. Systematic archaeological excavations at Bobovac began in the late 19th century, during the Austro-Hungarian period in Bosnia and Herzegovina. More extensive scientific research was carried out in the 20th century, especially between the 1950s and 1970s. These excavations uncovered the remains of the Royal Palace complex, the chapel and royal burial sites, defensive walls, towers and fortification systems, artifacts such as pottery, weapons, coins, and fragments of decorative stone. Archaeological findings confirm that Bobovac was not just a military fortress, but a well-organized royal and administrative center. Today, Bobovac is declared the national monument of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Conservation efforts have focused on stabilizing remaining walls and structures, preventing erosion and further collapse, limited reconstruction to preserve authenticity. There has not been a full reconstruction of the fortress. Instead, preservation follows modern archaeological standards, maintaining original material without speculative rebuilding. Bobovac is more than a destination. It is a journey into the soul of medieval Bosnia. Bobovac is not just a ruin on a hill. It is a reminder that even when kingdoms fall, their stories endure. And here, among stone and sky, that story still lives.